This video is for entertainment purposes only. Everything is alleged. Nothing is factual. Please use your own discernment. So I'm just letting y'all know this is I'm doing a voiceover of this because the original video I actually asked a completely different question. At the time, I was looking into Michael Jackson, in specifics, his relationship with Lisa Marie Presley. And that was the question that I was asking. But looking at how the reading turned out, and mind you, I'm gonna have to post this in pieces. Um, and actually, there's several different readings, but this one was 40 minutes originally. I'm gonna break that up, and then I have some others that I may also post. But looking at how it turned out, to me, it appears to have been about the young man that just passed away. He was with some friends, and his body ended up washing ashore earlier this week. So, my condolences to his family, and may he rest in peace. I think the young man's name is Nolan Wells. But yeah, it looks like what really came out was his story, or what could be, potentially be his story, some alleged details of that. Um, and sometimes, I'll get that where I'll ask one question and then I'm given the analogy of something else. So for whatever reason, that particular story may give more insight to my original question, but I thought it was interesting. Just looking at what cards came out. So just take a look at what comes up. Originally, this reading was done on July the 3rd, Friday, July 3rd. So as I start to split the deck, you see a couple interesting cards. But this one here, this is called What's the Tea? And one thing I kept seeing wake up call, money talks, intuition. And money talks can also talk about just the cost of something. Um, Reconciliation was in reverse on the split. You also had blocked, deleted, intuition. And I think they were saying this everything is alleged right now, but I think they were also saying they had the young man's phone. The friends ended up having his phone before he even washed ashore. So right here, this is a Lenormand deck. This is the African goddess version of it. This is that deck where they have the themes like the rider, the child, the tree, the bear, etc. So this deck is good to give some extra info, but that one's a little bit newer. So some of these are sticky. That one is a little bit stickier to try to shuffle. But the meat of the reading to me started out with the traditional tarot deck. So you're about to see some interesting cards come out. And notice how that Aquarius card, the water bearer card, um, came out sideways like that. But I ended up turning it up, facing it upward. So now we get more in depth here because it's some other cards that are going to come out that are pretty interesting, to say the least. First thing out there is the devil. Then you got the Three of Wands. That's all about looking over the horizon. That can be travel, foreign lands, all of that. Then you got the King of Cups in reverse. This could be somebody who lacks compassion, but also just considering that he could have died in water, or at least, like I said, washed ashore. Um, that reverse King of Cups is significant. You also got the Ten of Pentacles, but that's in reverse. And you got the Chariot. So you can see that there was somewhere that, was gone there. And you got your Emperor in reverse too. Now, usually the Emperor in reverse is someone who's in power, but they're abusing their power. Something isn't right, they're over the top, whatever. But you see how just right there, considering the details that are out there, everything's alleged, by the way, but just saying the details that are out there currently, it seems as if there was a situation behind it and it wasn't just happenstance. Because when you see the devil along with that King of Cups reverse, that Ten of Pentacles reverse, poor choices were made here. Not everybody had the same intent that was on that trip, So the deck I'm pulling out now is my Hoodoo Tarot deck. And this will have some layered meanings. So you got like your traditional tarot, and now I was pulling the Hoodoo deck. So the first card out here is the Nine of Swords in reverse. Then you have the Sun in reverse. It's called Big Mama in that deck. You got the Page of Coins, or the Son of Coins in reverse, which is like your Page of Coins, or a Page of Pentacles rather, in reverse. Them bones with the woman at the table is Judgment in that deck. You also have the Seven of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords. So that's known as the Seven of Knives in that deck. But that has a loaded meaning to it too, because the card describes a bird. The woman is actually cooking a bird on the stove. The bird is described as a black cock. Okay. So they talk specifically about those feathers in the loaded description of that card, or the more detailed description of the card. And then we also had that Son of Baskets, which is like a Page of Cups. But again, the imagery here, we have a young black boy near water. And notice how that card falls right at that Seven of Swords, Seven of Knives. You see what I'm saying? So I think there was something to this. I don't think it was an accident. Everything is alleged, by the way. This is all opinion. None of it's fact. But I do think there was a backstory to this, and that's why the details that are coming out don't quite add up to just, a friend getting lost or something. Just also wanted to add at the end here where we're seeing this picture I took last night. So like I said, the original reading that I did was on Friday night. Last night, which was what? So today would be, I'm recording this on Wednesday, early morning Wednesday. Last night technically would have been Tuesday. So let's say Monday night is when I pulled those cards. And I just at that time, like I said, I was just framing it within the reading about Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie. And so I kept getting this um vibe from the larger reading, the longer one that, I have to post in pieces, that there was something that was hidden or wasn't spoken about or something like that. So when I asked, I was like, what is it that hasn't been spoken on? Because I just wanted to confirm like the vibe I was getting, and those are the cards that I pulled. Notice how it's the same theme. So like I said, I think this was overlapping. The energy was overlapping, and it could be, you know, one of those analogy situations, but I didn't even know this guy's story until today. And so once I heard it, I was like, oh, now this clicks for me. But like I said, part two is on the way. Peace.